Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Sword Dancer of Eilistraee build in Baldur's Gate 3, and this will be using the mod, the Sword Dancer of Eilistraee here by ZX10RX, who has made the Mindweaver class mod. Now if you want to do this without mods, I do have a version that is just using base game classes, so I do have a version of that, but this one does come with two cool subclasses. The Sword Dancer, this one here is somewhat like a Bard Cleric combination, so you get the Cleric's cantrips, you get Bard spell list, and there's also the Dark Song Knight. Now this one's kind of like a paladin. You get like lunar smites and things like that, but they're a half caster. I'll be doing the Sword Dancer for this build. And if you guys want to also see the Dark Song Knight, let me know in the comments. First things first, we get to choose a cantrip. Now, dexterity saves on Sacred Flame are not that great, so honestly, the early game best choice would be the Toll the Dead. But guidance is also a really nice one to go with, so you can pick which one of these you want. Even radiant damage can be okay, as long as it's not against goblins. For the spells we'll be taking, I like to have the Healing Word, Thunderwave, as well as like Dissonant Whispers and potentially Long Strider to buff up the team. We get to pick a starting instrument, and for our ability scores, it's based on Charisma. So something like a stat spread of this works well. We're based on Dexterity, Charisma, and Constitution, so 16 in both Charisma and Dexterity, and 14 Constitution, and at least having 10 in Wisdom. And for skill proficiencies, take Persuasion. Acrobatics is nice too to prevent yourself from being shoved. At level 2, we get the cantrip Moonlit Grace. Your weapon flows with divine moonlight, refined by the grace of Eilistraee. While wielding a dagger, sickle, sword, rapier, scimitar, or longsword in your main hand without a shield, it gains a finesse property and counts as magical. And we also get channel divinity charges and level 1 spell slots here. We get the Eilistraee's Dance, perform an elegant battle dance until the end of your next turn. You get the benefits of freedom of movement, disengage, advantage on dexterity saving throws, +2 to armor class. You can make a melee weapon attack as a bonus action on the turn that you cast this. This does use your channel divinity. Now we also get to take a Bard cantrip here. Vicious Mockery is always one of my favorites, but Mage Hand is also great because you can use it to throw healing potions, which gives you extra bits of survivability. We also get another spell here, and with this, Fairy Fire or Cure Wounds, I guess, would be your best options, or even Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And for the fighting style, it depends. I think it's best to go with the 2-weapon fighting, and we can go 2 long swords if we take a feat later on. But if you want to use a shield, I wouldn't recommend using a shield, but dueling would be the best way to go about doing that. Now at level 3 here, we get our subclass feature, the War Dancer. Through divine rhythm and grace trained, you're now moving with such precision that your strikes are softened by the flow of your dance. When you're not wearing medium or heavy armor, not wielding a shield, and using the Sword Dancer proficiency weapon, so the dagger, sickle, short sword, rapier, scimitar, long sword, you can war dance 2 times per combat when hit by a melee weapon attack or ranged weapon attack to reduce the damage by a 1d4 plus dexterity modifier plus half the Sword Dancer level. There's also the Sword Dancer's domain, Eilistraee's Moonlight here, doing 1d10 of cold and radiant damage. Basically Moonbeam, but better, because it does cold damage. You also get access to level 2 spells here, with Hold Person being a definite spell you want to have, as that's going to be good for just overall locking down the enemy and getting critical hits off. You also get to take another Cleric cantrip, so I guess we can take the Toll the Dead there. And for our next level spell, I think Cloud of Daggers has some merit because it's doesn't have a check, it just automatically deals the 4d4 of damage. So that can be really nice. Invisibility also works well if you want to play more of a stealthy character, and Silence if you want to shut down enemy spellcasters. Cloud Dagger is just a really useful spell to have early game. Now for this, I actually think we're going to go with the dual wielder feat. The reason why, there's actually 2 swords that reference Eilistraee, with the Valor Alu, which talks about Eilistraee themselves, and also the Laurentian's Wrath, which is based on Corellon Laurentian, which is Eilistraee's father. So we can go with the dual wielder with 2 long swords. It just makes sense. At level 5, we get Destroy Undead. When we turn undead, it takes 4 to 24 radiant damage. With the Beacon of Hope, all allies regain max amount of hit points when healed, and they also gain advantage on wisdom saving throws, which is huge. And the Moonlit Sanctuary. Conjure a 4-meter radius circle of silvery moonlight that lasts for 3 turns. Allies inside restore 3 to 12 health points per turn and gain resistance to necrotic and psychic damage, and targets cannot become invisible. So this is nice for just protecting your team and keeping invisible creatures away. We also get to take a level 3 spell here, again, from the Bard spell list. So there's a few ways I go about this. I think that Glyph of Warding is a great spell, especially if you're a half-elf, because you can do the Glyph of Sleep at your feet if there's enemies around, and it won't hit you because you can't be slept. I also think Plant Growth is great because this does not require concentration. And Fear is also really nice too, because this can make targets drop their weapons and become fearful. So which one of these 3 that you prefer using? Into level 4 or 6 here, we get our extra attack. So this is nice, subclass feature, and also channel divinity charge. And we get to take another spell here. So we'll take Fear, as again, it's very useful for shutting down the enemies. And that extra attack is a really nice power spike. At level 7, we get the Sword Dancer domain, freedom of movement, snap an ally out of stun, difficult terrain can't slow them down, and they can't be paralyzed or restrained. We also get access to level 4 spells with polymorph, greater invisibility, freedom of movement, which we already have, and confusion, which I think is the best spell to take here. And we did take one spell song, so we get the Spell of Life, which choose up to 6 creatures within 10 meters who can hear you. Each target is healed for 3 to 18 hit points plus your charisma modifier. The healing increases by 1d6 for each spell slot above the 4th level. We also get the Song of Protection. You can do Sanctuary on 2 targets within. At 5 level, you may instead cast Spell Song Death Ward on a single creature within 10 meters. And at 8th level, you may do Spell Song Death Ward on up to 4 targets. We also get the Song of Renewal with giving a Remove Curse, and the Aura Purity at level 6, we get Lesser Restoration. In the Song of Hope, this one will give advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened, bonus to attack rolls equal to your charisma modifier, and bonus to saving throws equal to half your charisma modifier for 10 turns while you hold the concentration on this Song of Hope. And there's the Song of Rapture, so charms nearby foes and incapacitates all creatures within 10 meters who fail a wisdom saving throw, including those who enter the area later. Affected creature cannot be charmed once again by the spell, and you cannot take actions while performing and moving will break the concentration. So there's a lot of really good ones here. Song of Life is great if you need to heal yourself and your team. The Song of Protection is good for just keeping your team alive as well. It's kind of it's one that's a bit more advantage of to put it on your team before getting into a fight, whereas this is one that's more reactive where you do it after the fact. The Song of Hope's nice too because it gives you that extra bonus to the attack rolls and saving throws. Just depends if you want to go with Song of Life or Song of Hope. All of these are good depending on how you're going to use them, but I think Song of Life just gives a better advantage for the extra healing, as we do all sorts of things with this class. At level 8, we get ourselves another feat, and we get the choice of spells like Greater Invisibility. We can use the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel with this to give ourselves Greater Invisibility as a bonus action, so it's a nice little bonus. And at this point, I think it's best to bump up our charisma for better healing from our special abilities. At level 9, we get ourselves a level 5 spell, with Hold Monster being one of the most powerful. And at this point, I think that we can go with either the Song of Hope or the Song of Protection. I'm going to go with the Song of Protection there. This one does not require a concentration, so that's also nice. At level 10, we get our Bard cantrip here, so we can use Minor Illusion to group enemies together, or Vicious Mockery if you really like it. And we can take either Dominate Person or Planar Binding. So yeah, we got a lot of different Bard spells, but we don't get the Magical Secrets at level 10. At level 11, we get again another level. So we got choice of level 6 spells, so Eye Bite or Otto's Irresistible Dance. These are really up to you. Some people like either of these spells. I'm not fanatical about them. I'd rather use Hold Person and Upcast it, but we can take Otto's Irresistible Dance, and then we can go with the Song of Hope here. Give ourselves that bonus to the saving throws on our team and their attack rolls. And at level 12, we get ourselves another choice in spell. This does have level 20 support. Basically, it just allows you to keep selecting these spell song abilities. And I guess we'll go Plant Growth there. And we'll take a feat to boost our charisma all the way up to 20 there. So that's what we'll be rolling with for our overall leveling. And now into combat, or into equipment. So what we can use for gear, we got the Birthright Hat. Plus 2 to charisma is really nice because it does benefit a lot of our other abilities too. However, you can also go with, if you have the Mirror Loss, you can put your charisma up to 24, which is pretty solid because that's going to give us nice bonuses. You can also use these Hood of the Weave if you really want to, the Scrabby Pugilist Circlet. Even the Helmet of Arcane Acuity has some merit here, as we are light armor based. We have the Cloak of Protection for better armor class to get it up to 22. Now, this is probably the least lore accurate item to use, with the Ballast Armor is the best item to use, unfortunately. So this applies the Aura of Murder to all enemies within, so they take double piercing damage. So best if we use a piercing based weapon. We can use the Gloves of the Belligerent Skies here, as this gives us the ability to do Reverberation on Thunder, Lightning, or Radiant damage, which we have a Thunder spell and some Radiant spells here. So that's an option. However, you can also go with like the Bracers of Defense if you're not going to wear armor, or hold a shield if we were going with something like the like we put on the clothing option. I guess another option would be any of the clothing. The Vest of Soul Rejuvenation is probably the best here, because with this we can actually get our armor class up to 22 while using the Bracer to defense, so that's a nice option as well. And also you could use the Gloves of Dexterity to further boost up your dexterity if you want to dump that stat. I also have the Evasive Shoes, but the Disintegrating Nightwalkers work well, or the Boots of Stormy Calamar. And I also have the Fowler Louvre. You can use either this or Laurentian's Wrath as your main hand weapon, as this is going to give you some really nice options that are lore accurate. So the Fowler Louvre gives us the Singing Song, which is nice because that can give disadvantages on enemies' attack rolls. I also put the cold snap in the offhand. You can also, if you want to increase your overall damage, Dolor Amaris, you can do 2 long swords as well. That works really well too. But with the cold snap, it gives a bonus +1 armor class, and then it gives us the chilling counter. So we do have a weapon that does give us a counter here. So this isn't super necessary, but it is an option. Alternatively, you could use like the Infernal Rapier here because it gives you bonuses to spells while it's in the main hand. So another mix we could go with is like putting this in the main hand for that, and then putting in the offhand our longsword. It does look kind of silly having a longsword in the offhand, but that's another option we can go with. We want a piercing damage first and then use the ballast armor. But we can also like swap these around too, because this does give us a nice benefit. And also gives us the Cambion summon while being in the offhand. And it's going to use charisma for its attack rolls, so that's also nice. Knife of the Undermounted King will also give us some nice benefits as well, so you could roll with that in the offhand. There's a lot of great choices. Longswords and rapiers are going to be probably the best weapons to choose from. Belm is also nice, gives us the bonus action attack, but we also already have an ability to do a bonus action attack with our Eilistraee's Dance. Now, so the Amulet of Greater Health puts our health up to 135. Strange Conduit Ring. We have a lot of concentrations. This will allow us to do additional 1d4 of damage while holding a concentration. And the Ring of Protection just gives us a +1 AC. And then alongside the Hellrider Longbow, with a +3 to our initiative. So we can go first most times. So this is a good choice. You can also, again, you can use the Cold Snap in the offhand. You can use the Knife Under Mountain King in the offhand. You can even use the Orin's Dagger there in the offhand if you'd like for the extra. This also gives you a attack if this is in the offhand, but it's piercing damage, so it can be nice if you're using the ballast armor. And I'll show you what this looks like now in combat. If you know you're getting yourself into a fight, we can always pre-apply the Shriek from the singing song here. And then on top of that, we can also go with our Moonlit Grace to give ourselves the bonuses here to make it a magical finesse weapon. So if the weapon previously wasn't a finesse, you can now apply it. And it also makes the weapons glow, but you can also turn off the glow if you want to, so it's not required. So with our glowing weapons, we can go in. We got melee attacks, so that's a nice option. Those are the Moonlight Shards, which is cool because it's a cold damage version of the magic missile, as they always hit the target. Now what's nice about that is with the singing song, this can actually stack up and do quite a bit of damage. So what we can do is we can upcast it quite a bit and then hit all these targets that have the shrieking song nearby, because you're gonna see all that extra thunder damage getting applied to them. This is, again, more it's like magic missile. It's best to be used if it's the targets are low on health to finish them off. I also did mention the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, again, works really well because we can do our melee attacks and then use Hold Person as a bonus action. We can go in for our attacks here. This will hopefully take out this target, and boom. Yeah, we actually accidentally used our offhand attack. I didn't want to use my bonus action because this Song of Hope uses our bonus action as well. So let's go ahead and clear out this target here, and that's going to be enough. Or didn't he actually finish them off? That's fine. And we also have our War Dancer charge. So when we get attacked, this can reduce the damage again by that 1d8 plus dexterity modifier plus half Sword Dancer level. So if you're going to hit, you see there we reduced the damage, and now it only took 2 damage. And one of the best things you can always do with your action is do a Hold Person, especially if you have a chance of getting 96% success rate on it. That is huge because it's going to mean automatic critical hits on every target that you're attacking. So we can apply that there. We got the Hold Person off on 5 targets. This is perfect because now we can just go into and attack them, and all of the damage that we'll be getting is going to be doubled there. And you can see we actually apply the whenever we do our attacks with the Shrieking Song, it's actually going to deal a little extra damage too. So boom, the Shrieking Song gives you that double extra damage. Really good. So that was enough to finish them off there. Perfect. And we now have them held as well. And we'll again use the War Dancer to keep ourselves safe, taking 0 damage that time. And we'll just go around picking off the rest of the enemies that are held there. So boom. Did not mean use my turn off dual wielding if you're doing this, just to save your bonus action, because there's a lot of bonus action abilities that we do want to use. And now we got them in the Shrieking Song as well, so we can just go ahead there with even a Thunder Wave is always a good idea, because if you line this up right, you can actually go ahead and knock 2 of them off of a ledge at a time. The beautiful thing about that, unfortunately we didn't get that off, but sometimes you can make that and it just knocks them right off the ledge, so you want to get those whenever possible. And our outfit gives us the Greater Kashigo counter there, which gives us another attack, which is not crazy, but with Fowler Louvre it always ends up giving a little extra damage, so it's something. So we can also use our Moonlit Sanctuary here to create a silvery moonlight last for 3 turns, and it'll give us healing and also make it so that invisible creatures cannot turn visible. So we can pop this down to give ourselves this nice little bubble of healing here, and then within it, it's our domain, so we can just go ahead with attacking there. Boom, we took out that target, and then we should be sword dancing, but Can't make my way over there. So this is just going to give us healing over turns. So next we'll use our Song of Life here to give ourselves some healing. So we can apply this to ourselves and our allies there, if they're within range, obviously. So this will give us that 3 to 18 healing plus charisma modifier. So yeah, we still didn't get enough. And we'll eat the opportunity attack. I just want to show this ability off. So Song of Life, it's great because you can apply this to 4 targets here, and you can also upcast it if you wanted to. Let's apply it to our little squad there. Boom, gives us some nice healing. Unfortunately, you can't use the reviving hands because it's medium armor, and this doesn't actually get medium armor proficiency, so that's an unfortunate part about it. But we can also apply Sanctuary on 2 targets, so that's kind of cool. So we can go ahead here with Sanctuary on both of our teammates, so that we'll keep them safe. And then we also have our bonus action, Song of Hope, which can give a bonus to saving throws equal to half our charisma modifier, and a bonus to attack rolls equal to our charisma modifier. This does break concentration, but I'm just going to use this to show off this ability here. So we apply it to all 4 of our members. Boom. This gives us that Song of Hope there. So yeah, nice buff. And yeah, good turn. We also have our Channel Divinity, the Eilistraee's Dance here. So whenever we apply this, it gives us a bonus action attack for that turn, which is pretty useful. So our attacks can be used as a bonus action. So turn off your dual wielding there. In addition to this, it also gives us a +4 armor class and advantage to dexterity saving throws, freedom of movement, and disengage. So pretty nice. Boost up our armor class considerably there. So yeah, we'll go ahead with our attack here because we get an extra one. That was enough to take him out. Perfect. And I don't think I can actually make it all the way over to this target here. So what we can do is we have a lot of different concentrations. That's the one thing, is there's multiple concentrations here. Confusion always being a fun one, so we'll pop that down on the ground and end our turn there. And they are confused. They saved on confusion, unfortunately. So I guess we'll go again with our spells. We have a few different options for damage. I'll drop a cloud of daggers there because no check on the damage is straight up damage. And the thing is, you can always push people out of it as well. So Thunderwave being a nice combination here because you can push enemies out and then they run back into it. So that is the Sword Dancer of Eilistraee mod made by ZX10RX. So let me know if you want to see the other subclass, which is more like a paladin. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.